Bill Harris, you've just come third in the Montane Summer Spine Race 2023. Were you aiming for the podium? Is this a surprise to you?
No, definitely not. My hope was try and finish. That was it. So a pretty pleasant surprise, to be honest. Just things seem to come together in a way that worked. So yeah, it's quite exciting.
It feels like skipping to the end of the story, but you've crossed the line in third place today. But that's not where you were sort of this time yesterday. You've had a bit of a meteoric rise over the last couple of days. Could you talk us through?
Yeah, so I think I said to some of my friends from the running club back home in Morley, I was going to sort of run for 150 miles and then see what happens after that, which they laughed at. But I guess that's kind of what happened. The first few days were quite hot, and I don't run particularly well in the heat anyway. So I didn't push too hard. And then on the third day, it started to rain. And I felt good. So I kind of pushed on from there. And then on the last night, things got a bit more interesting because everybody was quite close together at the front. So I thought, let's just run and see what happens. And it worked out okay.
Well, I mean, at the tail end of the race to find something in reserve like that's pretty unusual. You've contradicted the end of the video last night where I said specifically that people don't speed up as this race goes on.
Yeah.
But there you were.
I felt like I was running faster. Whether I was actually running faster or not, I don't know. I don't know where it came from, to be honest. I don't have an explanation, but I hope it happens again sometime because it's quite enjoyable. I think when you can kind of keep going and keep running and pushing hard, then that's quite a satisfying way to finish the race. So it's good.
How much sleep do you reckon you had across the race?
I think it was about 4 hours. So I had three sleeps in checkpoints of various lengths, which were actually good, decent sleeps, which was good, I think. I don't think I'd have been able to do it without that. And then some little naps on the trail, just like a couple of minutes, that kind of thing.
It's all relative in the race, isn't it? That is a decent sleep. Yeah. Back at home, that would be a nightmare of a night.
Yeah, but it did feel like it made a difference. I think now I'm starting to feel the effects of lack of sleep. But actually, sleeping for an hour and then getting back out there, it was like a bit of a reset. And the food in the checkpoints was so good as well. That kind of, the food and the sleep, it's amazing how much you can go into a checkpoint feeling like I'm done. And then 2 hours later, ready to go. It's great.
Yeah, the teams in there are great. They're incredible restorative powers. What have you enjoyed out there then?
What have I enjoyed? I think that third day, so from Tan Hill, I got to Tan Hill walking really slowly, and I was having quite a low moment. So I was doing the mental math and thinking, if I keep going like this, it's going to take forever. Why don't I just run a bit and see what happens? And then from Tan Hill, I think over that course of that day, I did about 60 miles, mostly running, and it just felt really good. And so when you have days like that, when you get the beautiful scenery and everything else, that was really good. Did have an incident where I accidentally volleyed a frog that jumped into my foot as I was running. So, because it had new rain for the first time in a while, I think all the frogs came out in the evening and they were everywhere. And I kicked one and it went it was a good contact as well. It went but it was fine because it kind of skidded along and then hopped off. So, but yeah, the frogs were interesting.
Yeah, and just for anyone watching this at home, the frogs were real. That's been corroborated by a few people, whereas some of the other wildlife the runners have been telling us about was most definitely not there.
Shire horses I got, weirdly. Lots of Shire horses.
Wow. Someone just saw a transit van up there on the Cheviots.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that one. But yeah.
And now I've already covered in the Facebook post that you were starting to see faces appear on your arms and stuff. Were there any other sleep monsters that got at you?
No, that was the main one. Yeah, getting funny faces on my arms. No, just lots of seeing people in the walls and in plants and things like that, which I've never had before. It's the first time I've done the Challenger before, so one night, but it's the first time I've gone into two nights or more. So all the sort of sleep stuff was a new experience for me. It is very weird when you know you're not seeing what's there, but you see it anyway. So yeah.
So what worked when you were training, when you were preparing for this? What do you put your success down to here?
I don't actually know, so I'm mostly surprised, if I'm honest. But over the last 12 months, I've done a much larger volume of training than I've done before. So just getting my mileage up and running more is the simplest answer. And then I think the biggest thing in the race itself was there were some points where I was going so slow because I was worried about burning myself out, and actually I think looking back, when I just decided to just go for it, it seemed to come together much better. So I think if I was to do a race like this again, I'd probably take a bit more risks and just kind of push and see what happens.
But then maybe being a little more cautious early on is what gave you the energy to do what you did over the last night.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. So who knows? But hopefully it'll happen again sometime.
Yeah, we hope so too. And lastly, I'm going to steal one of Kev McCann's favourite questions. People will be watching this trying to pick up any hints and tips they can get because they're signing up for one of our races in the future, or maybe they're already staring down the barrel of doing the winter race in January. What's one tip you'd give them?
Eat early, get food on board, and get your stomach used to taking on food, because I think the people who had the most trouble were ones who couldn't get the food down. And often you can't get the food down if you've not been drinking enough water. So like drinking and eating right from the start, and practice that at home as well when you're training, because actually it's amazing when you can turn up and have a massive piece of lasagna while you're running. So
excellent. Well, once again, congratulations, Phil. That was an outstanding performance out there.
Thank you very much.